Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, the time traveling toy collector, and this is a summary video really of my exploration of the Transformers Generation Select 5-pack from the Legacy United line, the Autobots Stand. And here we have the 5 Autobots who are making that stand, and as you'll probably be aware by now, we have Wheeljack, we have Sunstreaker, we have Trailbreaker, we have Hound, and we have Jazz. 5 very popular characters from the G1 ranges, and 5 characters who are, with the exception of Hound, although by the same token not to the exception of Hound, have been released with previous decos in previous ranges. The reason I say that about Hound is because we did get Detritus. I didn't, but Detritus was made available, and that was using the Hound mold before Hound was using it in retail. Some interesting timey-wimey stuff going on there. And this is just to give you a summary of my thoughts. I've now taken a look at each of them in vehicle mode and in their robot mode. And before I go any further, I'd like to tell you how much I appreciate you sticking with me and watching these videos. That's what keeps me going. It would be great if you could like this video and also possibly drop a subscription to the channel, just to help me get closer to that next key milestone of subscribers. It really makes a world of difference, and it's completely free for you to do, so there's no pressure. But if not, don't worry. I'm just glad you're here for the ride here and now. So I'm not going to spend too long about this, because I've done each of these individually and I've done an initial unboxing. Those are all in the Autobot Stand playlist, so by all means check that out if you haven't already. But to come to the point in hand, a lot of talk around this set has been about the double dipping, going in and having to buy, for the sake of, technically the sake of getting their hands on Hound, having to purchase all of these as a set, despite the fact they've all been released previously in different decos and with some minor retooling in some places. And I know that's caused a bit of discourse both online and with other YouTubers who talk about Transformers toys. And I completely get it. You know, this was available at around about 100 to 120, 130 pound price point, and that's depending on where you are in the world. I know some people have been saying that it was around 160 where they were picking them up, and that's a lot of money. It's a considered purchase at a time when, you know, cost of living is really challenging. It's a considered purchase. A lot of Transformers toys currently are considered a lot of toys currently are considered purchases, but Transformers toys, because they have a large nostalgia value, some would argue that Hasbro are capitalizing on that, and that's never more apparent than in a set like this, where you have a set of 5 and only one of them is a new release of a figure. That sounds like capitalism in action. But to be honest, they are sufficiently different from my money, from what's gone before, and are far more cartoon accurate. Now, I know that the Warp for Cybertron ranges did an awful lot of work in making these very reminiscent of the G1 toys, whilst retaining retaining that original aesthetic, but including brand new, up-to-date engineering that facilitated them to retain their G1 appearances in robot and in alt modes, whilst giving them the flexibility, the posability that we would expect of a modern figure, but would definitely not get in our original G1 figure. So I think as a representation of that, this is fantastic. I think the figures are great. Fully appreciate if you wouldn't want to double dip to get them twice, or if you feel hard done by because you've had to just to get your hands on Hound. But taking a step beyond that, I think as somebody who was fortunate enough to not have already collected all of these, what I find particularly engaging with them is exactly what I've just described. They capture that nostalgia. They capture everything that our imaginations, or at least my imagination, was called upon to do as a child, in terms of giving these figures flexibility, posability, characterful stances and poses that we can photograph, we can video, etc. now. We were lucky in the 80s if they would stand up, unaided. The vehicle mode or the alt modes always took priority over the robot modes, which makes perfect sense. And again, let's not forget, when these were first released, it wasn't, when they were first released, they weren't even Transformers. They were in the Diaclone range, and so there was no need for scaling. They were literally toy cars that would become robots. So, you know, there's a lot of inherited history within the Transformers that explains away an awful lot of the shortcomings of the original range. But I think the distance we can see that's travelled in, let's not forget, 40 years, really does show that we can achieve so much. And if we can achieve this in toy ranges, what can we achieve in the real world? You know, put that out there. But we're not going to get too hype. We're not going to get too philosophical here. It's too early in the morning for me to be doing that. So my final thoughts on this is, I think if it hasn't detrimentally impacted you financially, and that must always be your first consideration, I would recommend when collecting anything. You know, you need to be able to eat, you need to be able to have somewhere to live, you need to be able to have light and warmth and food. So, you know, all of those things notwithstanding, if you're able to do all of those things and pick these stuff up, great, happy for you. But you've made that choice, and I think it's a good choice, because I think these figures really do bring to the fore all of that wonderful nostalgia that we as collectors, first time around, hunger for and long for, in terms of the very things we are looking to collect. So the fact I'm able to have these 5 figures in a new iteration that evokes so many fond memories of previous iterations and the cartoon and of course the movie, is amazing. I think it's really amazing. I think that's a toy line. They do wonderful things for our imaginations, and for the new generations who collect Transformers, for their imaginations too, because now those imaginations are challenged in different ways. We had to imagine that these things could stand up, that these things could move. Now they can. I mean, goodness me, if you look at some of the Robeson releases, they can do all of that by themselves. They don't need us for that, you know. So our imaginations, and the imaginations of those that come after us, are constantly being pushed and challenged to find new ways to be creative. And I think that then feeds into the next wave of toy designers and toy makers who will absolutely take toy making into a whole new level that we probably can't even imagine at this stage. And imagining is our business. As toy owners, toy collectors, toy photographers, imagining is our business. We recreate our imagination through we paint with the figures that we paint with plastic in many respects. They allow us to create certain types of art, and whether that is art for our own enjoyment, art that we can put on Instagram and share and get people to be interested in our take on the Transformers or whatever. I think that's fantastic, and I think as a creative outlet in this day and age, we all need creative outlets to express ourselves, to express maybe our thoughts, to keep our mental well-being ticking over. And that's, I think, an unseen side of some of the toy collecting. Some people go, why are people collecting? Why do you collect toys? You can't collect toys. Toys are for kids, blah, blah, blah. All of the old rhetoric. Well, actually, anything that you want to collect becomes a collectible by definition, whether it's a mainstream collectible or a niche collectible. People want to collect it, it's a collectible. And I think when you are recreating things from one's childhood or the past, for whatever reason, whatever drives you, whatever your motivation is, then you are collecting something that will help you reconnect with your past, fill in some gaps in your past, bring back happy memories from your past. Whatever your motivation and reason, as long as you're not, you know, damaging your own well-being and welfare and that of your families in the now, I think people should be entitled to collect. And of course I would say this because I'm somebody that does it, as and when they want to and what they want to. You know, as long as you're not hurting anyone, including yourself, you collect what you want to be proud of it, or don't share it. It's absolutely your prerogative. But for me, this set has stimulated so many memories, and I appreciate I've gone on a bit of a tangent then. But I think there's a lot of discourse about how much we should spend on collecting, how much collecting we should do, or people actually just hoarding. And I'll be honest, I've got quite a few Transformers I've not had a chance to get round to opening yet, and other toys, other things that I've collected, Star Wars stuff that I've collected, I've not had a chance to have a look at yet fully. Because life exists, and you know, I think as long as you have that balance between life and your collection, then you're probably quite healthy. But I know I've got stuff. I've got backlogs of stuff that I want to get out and look for nooks and crannies. But sometimes it can be overwhelming, because when you have a bit of a backlog, you kind of just want to sit and look at stuff and appreciate it, and not be driven to go, oh, I've got to get this out, I've got to get my next YouTube video out. So you will see that I don't have a pattern for releasing videos, and that's not because I can't be bothered, but it's because I want to appreciate the stuff in many respects before I go straight to a video, and I'm learning that more and more. So, you know, I have got lots of things that I will be bringing and showing in the future, and I hope you're around for that. You know, I really hope you see some of it, because some of it will be possibly generating nostalgia in yourselves, but also possibly giving you a chance to say, well, I'm not sure whether or not that's something I would have wanted to buy, and now having looked at the video that I'll be putting out, it gives you a position of informed interest as to whether or not it's something you do want to pursue and purchase, whether they're old school, new school, or schools yet to be. That's the beauty of being a time-traveling toy collector. You can dip into any era of toys that you want. Right, thank you very much for spending not only the last 13 or 14 minutes with me. I know how precious your time can be, and I'm very, very grateful you chose to spend it watching this video. I hope you will have a perusal of the channel. As I said, there's lots of things here. Maybe you like Doctor Who or other Transformers stuff, or G.I. Joe, or Star Wars, or Star Trek, or Battlestar Galactica, or sort of oddities from the past. Have a look around. There's stuff here. I'm sure you'll find something that will attract your attention. In the meantime, you have been a fantastic audience. Thank you for spending the time with me. As I said, I've been the Triple TC. That's the Time Traveling Toy Collector. This has been Hound, Sunstreaker, Jazz, Trailbreaker, and Wheeljack, forming part of the Generation Selects Legacy United Autobots Stand 5-pack from Hasbro to Karatomi. I've enjoyed having them. I've enjoyed taking you through the individual figures. And if you haven't seen all of them, please do check out the playlist. And I very, very much sincerely look forward to seeing you in another video. Take care, and remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Bye-bye for now.